Okey, terima kasih Mr. Edward. Informasi yang lengkap. Tapi kalau lebih lengkap lagi, kita ada demonstrasi bagaimana welding simulator itu dijalankan. Okey, sekarang kita akan beralih kepada demonstrasi welding simulator IE 4.0. Mr. Aaron, are you there? Okay.
Hello.
Now I will pass to you for the demonstration on the welding augmented simulation. Please, Mr. Adrian.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks a lot, Edward, also for inviting us today. So my name is Adrian. I work for ciri, and I'm responsible of a few of the Southeast Asia countries, like Philippines or Indonesia. And I wanted just to put a little bit of the, let's say, background for 30 seconds on ciri before we jump back into the demonstrations. So what about ciri? We're a Spanish company. We are based in the south of Spain. We started the company roughly about 9 to 10 years ago, and Soldamatic was built around 6 years ago. This is the last version of the product, was released just a few months ago. Okay, we started the company working basically into the educational segment. So we work with different governments, ministries, and welding schools all across the world. So people like Dave in Australia, which is the vocational institution over there, or the Ministry of Employment in Germany. But through the years, we started working more and more in the industry. And now we are kind of fortunate enough to say that we work with most of the leaders in the world. So we work, for instance, in the automotive segment, people like Volkswagen, Audi, or BMW. When you go to railway, we work with Siemens Mobility or Alstom. In oil and gas, we work with people like Aramco, and the list goes on. Okay, so that's kind of a very general overview about what we are. And now let me just get back to the machine. So I think we are a little bit tight on time, so I'll be a little bit faster, okay? And I'll start by saying that when we think about Soldamatic, as Edward was, I believe, explaining, we're talking actually about 3 different elements. So we're talking about the welding simulator in first place, but also about the learning management system and the curricula and work pieces, okay? So starting with the welding simulator, there are a few big differences that made it very unique in the market. One is that all the components are real, okay? So when we talk about the welding mask or welding torches, these are real welding torches, okay? For instance, this is the thick one, okay? And we use torches manufactured in Germany, and you can understand how important this is when you're building the muscle memory, right? To use the right tools. Now, what you see in front of you is actually the screen of Soldamatic and what the students see inside of the helmet. So I'll start by doing an exercise, okay, an open practice, which is kind of a playground. And the first thing that the machine asks me is about my starting point, my level, and different questions about the machine that I'm setting, okay? So I'll leave it as it is. And the second question is, what type of workpiece do you want to weld, okay? So I'll start by making a very simple fillet, okay? And then on the second, let's say, demonstration, I'll go for a way more complex coupon, okay? On the fillet, we have different positions and the materials, okay? So we have carbon steel, stainless steel, and aluminum. So I'll go for carbon steel and 10 mils. We have MIG, ESMO, flux core, and TIG. So I'll go for MIG. And now the machine is basically asking me different questions about the cast, the filler, diameter, and the type of welding that I'm basically doing, okay? Now you have to think that all of these questions, okay, are basically designed for the welder, okay? So if you're an instructor, normally you have a way more wider range of questions or parameters that you can set up, okay? Things like your technique even. Now, let me just put on the mask and start the exercise. So what you see on the screen, it is exactly the same thing that I see on my mask, okay? And as you can see, I can see my room, and my hands actually, and I can see the workpiece. And this is another big difference compared with other machines. So this is because we use augmented reality. So everything is real. The only thing that we use in virtual is the workpiece, which right now is plastic, but the moment I press a trigger, it automatically becomes metal, okay? And everything stays the same. So the room is the same, I can see my hands, but the workpiece is now metal and I can weld it, okay? Now, if you look on this top bar, you can see my machine settings. So things like the voltage, wear feed, and gas. So I'll start by changing the voltage a little bit. I don't want to go with 29 volts, so I'll go with 23, for instance. And let's see how it looks. So you can see different guides that the machine is telling me. So basically, the idea is to keep it all green. Okay. And you can see that it has quite a lot of spatter, okay? Actually, it has also some concavity. Doesn't look very much right. So I'm gonna go up a little bit on the voltage, okay? And the thing with this is that as the machine has been designed based on real welding testing, everything that you see in here is real, okay? So when you change the voltage, it works as a real welding machine and everything changes. So let's see how it looks now. Okay, so you can see that the machine now is welding in spray arc. The spatter is gone, actually, and the welding looks kind of better. Once again, I'm grabbing the workpiece with my hands, okay, and I can see everything. And once I finish the welding, the interesting thing is that from the learning management system, my instructor, my teacher, can see this in real time, okay? So what you're seeing right now is actually the learning management system. And if you're an instructor, you can see this in real time, wherever you are. It works online. So it doesn't matter if you are in the same training center, in the same city, or in the same country, you can see this same presentation, okay? Now, going back into the analysis module, the machine right now is going to assess exactly how I did it on the technique and what type of quality my welding has, okay? So it's telling me that I got a 92 out of 90, and the quality is kind of okay, but I got some defects because basically the machine wasn't set up properly. So I got some porosity. You can see the voltage is not correct enough, okay? Now, let me show you, instead of the fillet, how it looks with a kind of more complex workpiece. So I'm gonna go with the 6GR, okay? And let's see how it looks on this new. So this is one of what we call advanced welding multi-joints, and obviously they are way more complex than the traditional fillet or plates. All of them, they either include new features or they include kind of more complex challenges, okay? So this is one of them for 6GR, okay? So let me just put on the mask once again. And once again, you're seeing my room and the workpiece. And the only thing is the moment I press a trigger, it becomes metal, okay? So you can see how it looks. Now, let's give it a try. kind of very bad welding bit, actually. Way more difficult. But you can get an idea, right, on how it looks. So this is for the advanced welding multi-joints, okay? And once again, we have a full range of them, okay? But before I finish, okay, and just to give you an idea on how it looks on the learning management system, I wanted to show you exactly the type of dashboard that the instructor has. So this was my analysis right now. This is what my instructor sees for me in real time. And you can see I was getting a 9. So pretty bad. Everything was wrong, actually, except for the CTWD. And what my instructor can see is that if he or she goes into his dashboard, you can see the different point where the students are sitting or the welders are sitting. So you can see that my colleague Antonio or Mehdi, they are kind of ahead of me. They are about 50, where I'm 33. And the reason is, if you open my profile, I'm sitting behind on almost any parameter. So things like the travel speed, travel angle, or work angle, I'm getting consistently a worse score than the average of the other welders. And more importantly, I'm not making any progress. You can see here that it's basically pretty choppy, right? So I'm getting good scores, bad scores, all mixed up. Whereas if I go into Mehdi's profile, you can see that he's way more close to the average than I am, except for things like CTWD, but more importantly, he's doing progress. So you can see that except for the travel speed, he's very consistent on his grades, okay? Now, if I go into any of those profiles, I can see any video, okay? So the machine stores automatically all the practices from the past, okay? And I can see them, the repetition, whenever I want. So you can see here, I have different videos that I've been welding. So let's open one of them just to see how it looks. So this was one of my practices, okay? And once again, this might be from 1 month ago, 2 months ago, or maybe a few weeks ago, okay? Everything is stored automatically. Okay, so that was much about it, okay? Very quick demo. I think we are just right on time. So all for me, Edward, in case you wanna comment anything.